let me just introduce Eugene Beresin to you. So Eugene Beresin is a professor at Harvard Medical School. He was my mentor and teacher in my child psychiatry fellowship. He is the head of the Clay Center, an endowed center at Mass General, and he's just one of the smartest people I know, and also a terrific piano player and musician. So let's hear what Dr. Beresin has to say. Ben, can you play that clip?
I mean, it never hurts to ask. I mean, even if it, even questions about suicide. I mean, the myth is that if you ask a question, have you thought about just kind of like ending it all? And look, for some kids who, for example, a senior in high school that is losing out on the prom, playing varsity sports, and their games are canceled, and they're going to go to college or they're going to go to work, and this is their last hurrah. It can be like the end of the world, because teenagers, the brain doesn't mature until 26. So for the 17, 18-year-old, they're still in an early form of their brain formation, and they're acting largely on impulse. And for them, it may feel like the end of the world. So to say to them, to ask them, are you feeling so bad that you're not going to be playing in lacrosse championships or in the baseball? You're not going to pitch. You're for the final game of the series. Are you feeling so bad that you thought of hurting yourself? The myth is that you don't ask that question because you're going to put a seed in their mind and then they will do it. It's actually, if a kid is feeling helpless, hopeless, and like throwing in the towel, even though they may not do anything, asking about it is a relief because they want to talk about it.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Beresin.
Yeah.
So important. So, Tom, were you alluding to some of that before when we were talking about kids and what this must be like for them?
Yeah. Also, the idea of the last hurrah he mentioned, where if you're in high school, there were so many deadlines that were just arbitrary. It's like, oh, you got to get laid by 18. You got to get into 5 colleges.
That was not the deadline I thought you were going to talk about, but go ahead.
Well, or yeah, you gotta find a date to the prom. You gotta make varsity or whatever it is, and that's been taken from you by an unfortunate turn of events.
Yeah.
But that last hurrah thing is kind of a myth. Like, you don't stop. Fun doesn't stop after high school. I feel like that's something that has been implanted into people's head, or that fun stops after college or something like that. When you hear someone say that the best time in their life was high school, I just think, oh, I'm sorry. Really, because when I was talking, I talked about this a few months ago, where a few times a year until this year, I and a group of friends, we call ourselves the Cabin Boys because we started by renting a cabin in Tennessee. We just pick a spot, fly there, and have fun. And some of them are in their mid-40s. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's great. I certainly would not say that the fun stops after anything. I mean, it's really up to you and your mindset about the fun part. The time part is real, though, because time is a very abstract concept to begin with. Time. It's. Think about when we've had Christopher Sarson on. The producer of Zoom. He's calling in from New Zealand, and in New Zealand, it's the next day and some, which is sort of mind blowing. So it can be 8 o'clock at night here on a Thursday, and 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday for him. So time is weird, but for little kids, there's no question that time seems to be an eternity. If it doesn't happen now, it's never going to happen. And I know I've told you the story about the kid in the elevator, right? Where we're going down in this elevator, about the 15th, 16th floor, the doors open, little girl gets in with her mom. The little girl must be maybe 4 years old. We get down 2 floors, and this little girl says, This is taking forever. We're never going to get there down to the lobby. Because for her, time, if it's not happening now, it's not going to happen. And it's really worth talking about that longer in terms of addiction. Because with addiction, what happens is part of the brain that is responsible for that memory section, for that ability to sort of have that rational thought and anticipate what's happening in the future. Remember, that anticipating what's happening in the future is in the prefrontal cortex, that part of your brain right behind your forehead. What will happen next? Addiction is in the limbic system, which is not at all about what will happen next. It's what's going to happen right now. And that's what takes over the brain. There is minimal ability for what we call delayed gratification. Can I wait for something that will be nice to happen later? For the person addicted to drugs, it has to happen now. I need that rush now. And that's part of why it gets so dangerous, because the person with addiction actually takes over their prefrontal cortex to make the plan. So the limbic system takes over the ability to make a plan. And what's lovely about what we do in terms of having a prefrontal cortex is that we can plan and we can anticipate what will happen next.
Stretch the cat.